Hello, folks, and good Sunday afternoon. This is the Cliff Ellis Show. I'm your host, Brendan Dunn, along with Coastal Carolina men's basketball coach Cliff Ellis. Just one game on the slates for the Chanticleers this week, a Saturday showdown against App State. But as Coach, you and I talked about last Sunday, you had a week to prepare for that game on Saturday, a chance to go back and practice something you hadn't been able to do.
Right.
Leading up to this game, how do you think preparation went and getting back to practice?
I thought preparation was really good. I mean, we've been struggling with some of the fundamentals. We hadn't shot the ball well. We got plenty of shots in. We worked on our ball handling and passing to create a situation where we wouldn't turn it over so much. We worked on our rebounding and things of that type. I thought it was a great week of practice.
What else were you able to accomplish this week outside of just getting back on the floor and getting back to fundamentals, as you said last week? We got to work on fundamentals. What other aspects of this game were you able to work on?
Well, I think the mental aspect of it, we were able to kind of analyze ourselves, what we needed to do, try to get the young guys because we're seeing that, you know, we've got a lot of freshmen and we're trying to get them where they grow through this experience. And during this past week, we got them in the lineup a little bit, worked with them on moves and things of that type. But they are freshmen, and they're learning, and they're trying to figure it out.
All right, big week for the Chanticleers, not just Coastal Carolina, but college basketball. Coaches versus cancer. This is the week to battle cancer. You guys wear your tennis shoes, and it was a good opportunity to just showcase again that the battle is still going.
Well, and the pink tie, that's cancer.
I like
Coaches
I like
versus cancer, and the white sneakers, and I'm sure you got
Yeah, I
pictures
got video.
of that. I'm
Yeah.
not going to sit here and show that with regards to it. But let's look at this. That's the game of life. And I was a good friend of Jimmy Valvano's, and this is where all of this coaches versus cancer started. He died of cancer about 25 years ago. But in his dying days or dying months, he knew that he wasn't going to make it. And several of us, and I would talk to him probably once a week until the last month of his life. But the one thing that he always said, he says, I'm probably not going to make it, but I sure want to make a statement for those that are going to be affected, because either you're going to be affected or somebody in your family is going to be affected, and I want to make a difference. And we as ACC coaches at the time, and Mike Krzyzewski's still coaching, I'm still coaching. The rest of the coaches during that time are not into coaching, but we rallied around this cause. And it started with that, and ESPN really jumped in and helped, and then we got coaches versus cancer all over the country going. And you look at what's been done in the last 25 years, Brandon. Things are being done with cancer because of the money that's been raised through Jimmy Valvano's foundation. It has enabled us to beat cancer in many ways. We're doing things that people didn't have a chance 25 years ago to survive. And I look at it now, we're doing things that you wouldn't believe in the last 5 years that have helped the cause. And it's through raising dollars.
Correct.
So Jimmy Valvano has a lot he's the one that started this. The ACC coaches jumped in on it. It jumped into where 350 Division I schools were playing today, and all the millions of dollars that are being raised is helping our fight, because we play a game of basketball that's about wins and losses, but you're talking about the battle of life here.
All right, let's go in these highlights, show you what happened between the Chanticleers and the Mountaineers. We get things going early on. And, Coach, the first couple of minutes, neither team able to really do much.
Right.
Scoring-wise, it was one and done, a lot of rebounds and a couple of turnovers. And the first 2 or 3 minutes, it kind of went back and forth. It was like a heavyweight bout that nobody really wanted to win.
Well, both teams were missing, but at the same point in time, I think our turnovers early led to some buckets that gave Appalachian State a chance to open this thing up. We simply turned it over.
And those turnovers resulted in points for the Mountaineers as they would bolt out to an 8-0 lead. And, Coach, just 4 minutes to the game, it's 8-0, and your team's struggling, and they're already up 8.
Well, we're turning it over, so we're not getting shots. And when we did get shots and get looks early, we made some moves that I thought should have been easier moves. We hurried. We tried to press. Sometimes when you get behind, you start pressing. So that made a difference with regards to how this game turned out.
And the shots finally get on the board at the 14:35 mark. Gumsfrater with a bucket, and it was a 6-point game, but it took some time for your offense to get going.
Yeah, it did. It took some time for the offense to get going, and it really didn't get going until the second half. And in the second half, we cut it, but it was a struggle in the first half.
As we go down the stretch here, Coach, in that first half, that lead balloons for the Mountaineers to 25-7. They were hitting some big threes. Those were going in. Your team was trying to have the equalizers. Your threes weren't going in.
Well, and that was it. When you're making threes, guys are starting to feel better about themselves, and they were knocking that shot down. And you got to give them credit. It wasn't going in for us. It went in for them.
We go into the half with Coastal trailing 40-22. Clearly not what you wanted to see from your basketball team there in that first 20 minutes. What was the message at halftime?
We can't turn the ball over. We had 14 turnovers. You can't do that. I mean, we only had 18. We only had 4 turnovers in the second half. They were out rebounding us in the first half. We have to do 3 things. Number one, we got to cut the turnovers down. We did. That's why we made a comeback. The second thing is we've got to rebound. We did a better job in the opening of it. And the third thing is we got to eliminate their 3-point shooting. We never did that.
Mm-hmm. Let's start the second half, and it was a good open for you. Now, granted, they came out, hit a couple of buckets, extended that lead, but here comes Coastal, your team bouncing back, cutting that lead. Keyshawn Bruton finally finds his rhythm. I had to imagine it was probably the change of shoes. I was sitting there on the sideline. He changed shoes at halftime, and he put the pinks on. And
superstitious.
That's what I'm saying. Once the pink shoes went on, he started hitting.
Superstitious. And, I don't think the shoes have anything to do with it. But if it affects you mentally and you got to have it, then do it.
The lead all of a sudden was just 10, Coach. You're right back in it.
Well, we cut it to 10, then we're going to eventually cut it to 8. And so now you got a shot at it. We've got them calling a timeout, so now we need to make that second move.
And you did just that. You were able to keep it really close and have an opportunity there, Coach, hitting some big buckets. You could kind of sense maybe the crowd was getting into it, and
yes.
You could sense that maybe there was going to be one more run in the tank for you guys to kind of get over the hump.
Well, we thought we were making that run, and we thought the momentum had swung our way. And you got to give credit for Appalachian State. They just fought back and made that next run for themselves.
They were able to weather the storm, as Coach has just alluded to, and by doing so, they extended the lead, which was at 1.8, and now it's back up to double digits. And from that point on, Coach, it just seemed like they were hitting, and you guys were kind of forcing some stuff, trying to get back into the game, and everything from the last 10 minutes really went their way.
Yes, it did. Well, of course, we had to start pressing. The clock's starting to run down our way. We're having to gamble with our defense, and, you hope that you can get some turnovers to kind of get it going your way, and they were able to take advantage and score some buckets off of our press, but we didn't have a choice but to press.
Coastal Carolina would fall for their the third time here at home, unfortunately losing to App State 78-58. 3 in a row, Coach. Not what you wanted to see in this 3-game homestand.
Well, we had a chance to go into first place a week or so ago, coming off of a good road win in Texas, and you got to give Little Rock credit. They took it to us, and we haven't bounced back since. And, we've got to learn. We got a lot of young guys, and we've got to learn to dig ourselves off the mat, come up, and find a way to win. And you're not going to do it by going and try to get a bucket right off the bat. You got to defend. You got to rebound. You got to get 50-50 balls. You got to do those little things.
Moving forward now, and we'll talk a little bit more about this as we go on in the show, but coming off 3 in a row, you got to think you're working with young men that are 18, 19, 20 years old. You got a lot of freshmen. Mentally,
yep.
This is a tough thing you're going to have to overcome.
Well, there's no doubt about that, but it's time for them to learn and to grow and get themselves better and focus on what they got to do. We're going to the second half of the race, and everybody knows everybody, and we got to dig deep, and it's going to come to a point where you're no longer a freshman. You're going to be a sophomore, and you got to get better and focus on getting better. And keep in mind, even DJ, he's just a sophomore. He's an underclassman. We're playing so many underclassmen. And when you play an experienced team like the Arkansas teams and Appalachian State, you got to be at your best.
Bench play, Coach, continues to be your Achilles heel, especially in this last 3 games.
I agree.
From a coaching standpoint, how frustrating is it to not have your bench produce like they have had in the past?
Well, you just got to keep doing what you got to do, and they're freshmen, and you know, they don't need to be looking over the shoulder. They just need to go in and do the job that's expected of them and go and do the best they can.
All right, well, let's put this one to bed, Coach, because we still got a lot of basketball left. But unfortunately, it was a disappointing end to a 3-game homestand. But the Chants will be back home in a couple of weeks. They go on the road here next week. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But we're going to talk about Warren Gillis after the break, Coach. I know he's been on your staff for the last 2 years. Had a chance to sit down with him. That's coming up when the Cliff Ellis Show rolls on right here on ABC 15. We'll be right back.
The Cliff Ellis Show is brought to you by the Britton Law Firm.
For us, nice is more than a smiling face. Nice is competitive interest rates and cashback benefits with a rewards checking program. Visit a Crestcom Bank location or apply online today. Crestcom Bank. Have a nice bank.
At Logan's Roadhouse, we grill up sizzling Southern-inspired flavor using time-honored recipes we've collected and perfected over time. From the inviting aromas of our wood-fired grilled steaks to our delicious from-scratch dishes with seasonings you can see, we know how to bring out food's true flavor. And when you pair our food with an ice-cold beer or our handcrafted Roadhouse tea, you'll understand why Logan's Roadhouse is much more than a restaurant. Come to where steak rules the road. Logan's Roadhouse.
You wear many hats, and HTC knows what you need to keep the day running smoothly. You're an entertainment coordinator, appointment maker, and business superhero. You're a personal chef, chauffeur extraordinaire, and a trusted protector. No matter where life takes you, HTC keeps you connected by bringing world-class technology right here to Horry and Georgetown counties, because you are here, and so are we. HTC, this is life. Connect with it.
At its heart, above all else, A&I has had a long-standing commitment to the community.
Our driving force is our dedication to the people we serve.
From Myrtle Beach to Florence,
Wilmington to Charleston.
every job is different and every community is unique.
No matter what disaster has brought us to you.
It's our commitment that will keep us here. We're proud to be celebrating 40 years of service to the Carolinas.
And we're looking forward to 40 more.
The Cliff Ellis Show is brought to you by Waccamaw Land and Timber.
And welcome back, folks, to the Cliff Ellis Show. Coach Ellis has had one of his former players on his staff for the last 2 years in Warren Gillis. Obviously, the folks that follow Coastal Carolina basketball know exactly who that young man is. One of the best to ever don the teal. He's on your staff and wanting to learn a lot about not just the basketball aspect, but the coaching aspect. How much fun has it been to have him around again?
Well, he understands the game. He understands what I'm looking for. He understands the field game. He played where these guys played. So he's got that feel of being a player, and he's learning to coach. So that combination of being in the system as a player for 4 years and now being with, it helps us with regards to it because I trust him. Mm-hmm. If he's got something to say, I totally trust what he's got to say.
What has his role been in this coaching staff? Because clearly you have your assistant coaches and Benny. So what has his role really been?
Well, what he does, he can't go on the court as far as coaching per se, but what he does is helps us with videos. He studies our practices. He gives opinions of what he sees, and he works mentally with our guys on making sure that they understand. Okay, this is some things that you need to do. So you can call it player development, and he's focused on getting a master's degree and coming out where he could eventually get into Division I coaching himself.
All right, well, I had a chance to sit down with Warren earlier this week at practice, and here's how that one-on-one interview went. When did you decide the time was right to come back here to Coastal to try to not necessarily revamp your basketball career, but maybe take that next direction of going from player to a coach?
Well, so I did play 2 years after I graduated, and then the third year. By the end of the second year, I ended up having an injury, had some knee problems, back problems. So I spent, it was probably over a year rehabbing, doing that. And I basically told myself I wanted to get one more go. And that one more go, I ended up going back to the UK for, I think, the last 2 months of that season and the playoffs. And after that, I said I was going to dedicate the whole summer to get my body right and all that. And I did that for the summer. My body was great, but then I didn't get any offers that I liked. So I said, you know what, I'm ready to move on to, try to get into coaching. And so, I mean, I was back here and I was hanging around, and then they asked me if I wanted to volunteer, which is what I did last year. So I've done that, and then back here this year again.
What was the conversation like with Coach Ellis when y'all had that conversation about, hey, Coach, I want to make the transition into coaching. Can you help me?
It wasn't much of a conversation. It was like, I mean, I was hanging around the team, like I usually do in the summer, hanging around the team, and then he asked me what I was doing and if I was interested. And I was like, yeah. And it wasn't much conversation. Like, you want to do it? Like, yeah, let's do it.
You and I talked just a few minutes ago about, still being in communication with your old teammates. When you told them you were coming back to Coastal to help coach, what was their reactions?
It wasn't a conversation where I told them I was coming back, because, I mean, we all come back and we're around the team. I just happened to end up being the one staying around, and they just asked me what I was doing. I said, yeah, helping out the team. I'm volunteering, and, they made some jokes like, you just can't leave Coastal or Myrtle Beach. I'm like, I probably can't, but I'm enjoying it.
I'm assuming in the back of your mind, you're thinking, Coastal's given so much to me. Now I want to give back to Coastal. Is that somewhat of where we're sitting at this point?
Yes, it is. I built a very deep relationship with it just from, I mean, the tournament runs, the tournament runs felt more like a community thing than some people might realize. To me, it was more of a everybody thing, and it meant a lot to me, and that's something I want to keep going. I want to, to bring back to the school. It was a special time for everybody, and I just think back and just like, I see Coach Carolina, I see the teal, and it just feels right.
Let's go back to that championship run, your senior year. I was going through some video. It was an exciting time. You guys beat Winthrop to get into the tournaments. What was that feeling like for you now that you've had an opportunity to be a couple of years removed from that, to be able to look back on it now, look at that championship ring, and remember that season?
When I look back on it, I think that the two championships, I think, was different things. Like the first one, as I said, it was more about the community than the school. I mean, we haven't been since 1993, and so many first-round exits, a couple at home, a couple championship losses at home in Kimball. So that was something I felt more was everybody's getting over that hump. And then the second year was more so us as a team proving that the last year wasn't a fluke, and also, I mean, me as a senior just want to go out the right way and just solidifying everything. So when I look back, that was more of that solidifying. But then the year before that was more so a collective unit of everything.
That couple of years that you were here playing was a really special time for this basketball program and for this community because of the success you guys had. What do you think needs to happen for you guys to get back to that point? Now, granted, we all know that it's a different situation with regards to where you are in the conference and things along those lines, but what's it going to take for this program to get back to that point where y'all can have that feeling again of going to an NCAA tournament?
Well, I think the first thing, which is what we lost in the past couple of years, is just playing basketball the right way. I think people also enjoyed just watching us play, other than the winning the tournaments. That's what I hear back from a lot of people. This is the way we play. They enjoy watching us play. I think we want to bring back that brand of basketball where people enjoy watching us play and will come to see us, even after sometimes you might take a loss, but they want to see a better brand of basketball. And we get a better brand of basketball, then the winning will come.
What does the future hold for Warren Gillis?
I'm not sure if they're coaching somewhere.
Coach, I always love talking to Warren because you know what? He always is a straight shooter and enjoys the game of basketball. Had a nice run as a professional. Obviously, it didn't continue, but now he's back here. He's learning the game from a different aspect, and he really wants to be a head coach somewhere. Do you think he has the traits to be that?
There's no doubt about that. He's got the personality. He's got the mindset. He's got the energy. He understands the game. He has a tremendous basketball IQ, and he relates well with others. So all those elements will be very beneficial for him for the future.
How much do you think these younger guys feed off of his knowledge, knowing that he's been to 2 NCAA tournaments, he's won 2 conference championships, he's got the rings to prove it? How much do those guys kind of come to him and want to learn from him?
Well, they respect him. They know what he's gone through. He played professional basketball over in Europe, so they totally get where he's coming from, and And it's a trust factor and a respect factor. You can't, if you don't have that, it's not going to work. And he has that, and that's what makes him go.
How much fun is it being a coach to have a former player on your staff, especially a guy of his character and his knowledge?
I'm enjoying it. Like you said, I can trust him. I trust him, and he knows where I'm coming from. I know where he's coming from, and he doesn't mind speaking what he feels is right, and he knows that I trust that, and he trusts me, and it's just been a good situation.
There's a lot of trust there. I trust Coach. Coach trusts me. That's good stuff. I like it, Coach. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Garrett Green, one of the new guys on this team, has been around, and we're going to talk about him when we come back on the Cliff Ellis Show. We'll be right back.
The Cliff Ellis Show is brought to you by HTC.
Locals love Creek Rats for lunch. They say it's the fresh salads, fantastic wraps, and seafood baskets. But when you experience those incredible waterfront views, you get that relaxed Creek Rats attitude. Waterfront on the Marsh Walk in Murrells Inlet.
As fellow community members, HTC believes in helping friends and neighbors protect what matters most. With integrated home technology, I can control my home and security system from my smartphone. HTC Security makes my job easier and keeps my world running smoothly. No matter where the day takes me, HTC brings reliable, world-class security right here to Horry and Georgetown counties because you are here, and so are we.
Secure what matters most with HTC Connected Home.
HTC. This is life. Connect with it.
Waccamaw Land and Timber has been serving the Grand Strand since 1982. The ultimate goal of Waccamaw Land and Timber is the best interest of both the buyer and the seller. If you're looking for a place to relax, hunt, or fish, the professionals at Waccamaw Land and Timber can find you the perfect recreational property. Call 449-0441 to discuss your real estate needs with Waccamaw Land and Timber.
Another trial, another battle. Where's your strength? Tenacity. What's your history? Fighting for my clients in court. But what sustains me now is working with three of the finest individuals I've ever known. My family. There's power in family. Power for our clients.
Fighting for your rights is my family's business.
Britain Law. Born to fight, bred to win.
The Cliff Ellis Show is brought to you by Yellowwood Pressure Treated Pine.
Hope your Sunday is going well. Welcome back to the Cliff Ellis Show. Switching gears, we're talking about Garrett Green, the Baton Rouge native. And Coach, I sat down with Garrett earlier in the season and had an opportunity to talk to him and learn a little bit about him. I didn't understand. I knew he was a good basketball player, but I didn't understand the other stuff that came. He's come from a rough area and a rough upbringing, but basketball has really been that one constant to help him stay away from all that stuff and really concentrate on being a better person and a really good basketball player.
Well, I think sports helps a lot of people do that. When you've got something to rely on that you see, that you love, that can help you get where you need to get, and you latch hold of it and give it all you got, then sports teaches you so much. It teaches you winning and losing. It teaches you how to manage yourself, discipline, all the things that you're going to need in life, and that's what Garrett has done.
What was it about Garrett Green that stood out to you the first time you met that young man that says, you know what, I think he can be at Chanticleer?
He's hungry. He's hungry. He wants it. And I'm very proud of him. He's learning the game. This is his first year, but he rebounds for his size as good as anybody. He really goes and gets it.
All right, here's more on the Louisiana native. Playing a sport can mean different things to different people. For some, it can be the difference in their quality of life and an opportunity to better themselves. For Garrett Green, basketball has been a way to escape the rough streets of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, to put himself in position to earn a degree to help make a better life for himself.
When I went back, people, it just felt good. People saying, bro, I see you doing good. I always knew you were going to be a great player, and I'm starting to see it. Seeing me on TV and all type of things, it just feels great, knowing the way I've come up.
His parents have been his rock, the foundation to keep Garrett on the right track. It's been their help, their guidance, that has been the key factor in his ability to achieve success, both on and off the floor.
You see the best and the worst of each side of the world. And when you've got parents that can kind of give you that upbringing, yeah, I mean, it really helps. I think you become stronger.
His Coastal career, while young, has been a work in progress. Green played center at the JUCO level, but had to adjust to a new role at CCU, a new position he's slowly easing into.
The best thing for me is being able to experience it in the game. And I think that's what's helping me the most. The more games I get in, the better player I see myself being.
Green has leaned on Devontae Jones to help his journey. With both being from Louisiana, it's only fitting the two hit it off early.
I feel like we both had to do a lot and had to work hard to get where we at.
Expectations are high for Green, and so far, he's been everything the coaches expected and then some.
He understands it. He's a good kid. He's good academically. And he knows what's expected of him on and off the court.
The future is very bright for this young man. He's probably going to be on this roster for quite some time. What's the future hold for Garrett Green?
Well, I think he's getting better as a player, and we continue to try to develop him. This is his first year in the program, and he shoots the ball well. His shooting percentage from the three is about as good as anybody. And he rebounds defensively. He's figuring out what he needs to do. And we keep working with him, and he should get better as we play.
What's the one aspect that stands out to you that he needs to work on in the offseason?
I think get stronger. I think they all do. Anytime here, all these guys that are first-year players, they got to get stronger.
Okay. All right, one more quick break. When we come back, we'll switch gears, talk about the week ahead as the Chanticleers head off to the state of Arkansas to take on Little Rock and Arkansas State. We'll be right back.
The Cliff Ellis Show is brought to you by A&I Fire and Water Restoration.
When you bring the indoors outdoors, there are no rules.
At Logan's Roadhouse, we grill up sizzling Southern-inspired flavor using time-honored recipes we've collected and perfected over time. From the inviting aromas of our wood-fired grilled steaks to our delicious from-scratch dishes with seasonings you can see, we know how to bring out food's true flavor. And when you pair our food with an ice-cold beer or our handcrafted Roadhouse tea, you'll understand why Logan's Roadhouse is much more than a restaurant. Come to where steak rules the road. Logan's Roadhouse.
Locals love Creek Rats for dinner. They rave about the nightly specials and how much they enjoy the live music. But when you experience that incredible waterfront view, you get that relaxed Creek Rats attitude. Waterfront on the Marshwalk in Murrells Inlet.
The Cliff Ellis Show is brought to you by Crestcom Bank.
Welcome back here to the show. 2 games on the road for the Chants. And, Coach, it's interesting to see that your team is playing a lot better on the road this year than at home. And, obviously, it's usually the other way around. But you're hoping that continues this week because you got 2 in the state of Arkansas. You're facing first place Little Rock on Thursday and then Arkansas State on Saturday.
Yeah, these 2 teams are really playing well, and they're in the upper part of the league. And it starts with the #1 team, Arkansas Little Rock, Thursday. I mean, they really bothered us with their size, and that's something we can learn from. And we've got to play a great game to go in and get this one done.
When you look at one key aspect of what you need to do on Thursday, what is it?
We can't let them block the shots that they blocked us, that they got against us. They really bothered us with block shots.
Saturday, you go up to Jonesboro, you play Arkansas State. You've been there several times. You know the atmosphere. It's loud. I'm assuming it's going to be that way again. What do the Chants need to do on Saturday?
Well, I think the thing that hurt us the last game was they surprised us as how well they shot the 3 ball. They're a driving team, but they really shot the 3 ball well against us, and we're going to have to play a great game.
Every coach says, more so you, take one game at a time, but this is 2 really key games for you considering where you guys sit in the conference and coming off 3 losses.
Well, you just try to go 1-0 for today, and our focus is we can't really look ahead and look back. We just got to get better, and we've got the conference tournament in about 5 weeks. We need to focus on being the best we can be.
All right, that's going to do it for us here on the Cliff Ellis Show for this Sunday. Make sure you tune in next Sunday. Coach and I will break down how things went in Arkansas with Little Rock and Arkansas State. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next Sunday.